Lovely. Hello and good afternoon, everyone. My name is Chris and I'm one of the Shortcuts educators. Thank you ever so much for joining us for our masterclass today for Essential Stock Control. Now, if this is your first time joining me for one of our masterclasses, thank you ever so much for joining us. And we're going to be doing these sort of once a week, sometimes twice a week moving forward. Just really ensure you're getting the most out of your shortcut system. The subjects that we cover, they will always change. So if you do have any suggestions, please feel free to pop those across. But we're going to be going through sort of a whole host of subjects as we move forward. But of course, for today, we're going to be looking at our essential stock control or stock. There's quite a few elements that go into stock. So I do have a deconstructed video pre-recorded for stock. So if you do need that, please let me know at the end. And today's masterclass and all future masterclasses are also recorded as well. So just before we get into the fun stuff, a little bit of housekeeping for you all this afternoon. The duration of this class is going to be approximately 60 minutes. Maybe a little bit more, maybe a little bit less, just depending on sort of like if we get any questions or anything like that. As always, my microphone is switched on, whereas everyone else has automatically been muted. And your speakers must be turned on to hear this webinar. Questions will be taken during or at the end of the webinar using the chat box, but as if you've ever joined us before, you will know I do always say, feel free to unmute yourself, have a chat with me if you feel confident enough to. If not, not a problem. Feel free to pop any messages over in the chat box. I will always keep an eye on the chat box. Depending on sort of where I am, I might just wait a few minutes to answer it, or I may get to it at the end, but I will always keep an eye on the messages coming through. Now, if you have been on the classes before, you will know we often do sometimes a PowerPoint presentation, sometimes we just do a live demonstration. For this afternoon, I'd probably say 99% of it, ladies and gents, is all going to be a live demonstration with just a very brief introduction. So with that being said, let's move forward. So in this session, we will be covering accessing your products, adding new lines and suppliers and updating your minimum and maximum levels, performing stock takes to ensure your levels are correct, generating an order based on your current stock levels, including the minimum and maximum levels. So all of these sort of keywords are going to come a little bit more apparent, a little bit clearer over the course of the class. We're also going to be looking at some top tips to manage your professional stock usage, to reduce costs and of course wastage. We're also going to be looking at essential stock reports plus a little bit more. So like we said, we've got a lot to get into over the next sort of 60 minutes. So that's what we're going to be covering for this afternoon. So a couple of keywords which may just help us as we move forward. And I'm going to sort of refer to these keywords quite a few times. There are keywords, there are buzzwords. So within the next sort of 5 to 10 minutes, you're going to see these three keywords almost immediately. So we're going to be looking at a supplier. Now, a supplier is a person or organization that provides something needed, such as a product or service, and in this case, i.e. Salons Direct. Company, a business which makes goods or products, i.e. Kerastars, L'Oreal, Redken. Line, a group of related products all categorized under a single brand name that is sold by that same company, i.e. nutritive. Now, of course, there are other brands available, but these are the ones we've just used for today. So we're going to be looking at our supplier, our company, and our line. Salons Direct, Kerastars, and nutritive. As we said, there are other companies and suppliers available. So there are keywords. So what we're going to do now, ladies and gents, we're going to dive straight into our live demonstration. And if you do need to refer back to the video at any stage, please let me know and I will ensure that is emailed over to you. So with that being said, we're now going to move forward and open up our Shortcuts Fusion system. So we've opened up our system. Let's just pop our pin in there. Now, before we get right into the fun stuff, it may just be worth taking a look at the back end side of your stock, of your products. Now, you probably won't need to make any changes here, but it is worth just having a quick look. So what we're going to do on the right-hand side, we're going to click onto Setup, and we're going to click onto Configuration. Now, if you're watching this and you don't have the correct security level for this, or you don't have access to this, it's not essential. But if you do have access to this next bit, it would just be worth just triple checking. So set up configuration, and then in the bottom left-hand corner, we're going to click onto the last option that says region. Now, once we're in region, what we're going to do is we're going to click the tax icon to the left-hand side here. And you can see we got some options. Now, down in the bottom left, you can see the tax options. Does the product buy price include tax? So what that means is what we're going to see visually in a minute is when we input our product buy price, is what we buy it from our supplier at. And determining whether you have VAT or tax included in that price when you input it into Shortcuts will be this tick box here. So if your supplier does provide you the prices with the tax included, you may wish to tick this box here. If they provide it to you without the tax included, you will probably want to have this box unticked here just to make sure. And hopefully, depending on your region, you should have the correct tax rate for your region set up on the right. If you're not sure, if you don't think your tax is set up correctly, or you don't see the correct 13% or 20% or whatever is applicable, please do let us know at the end if you don't feel confident changing that. Now, to save your changes, we would just click done in the bottom right-hand corner. And if you did make any changes, you may just have to give a quick restart to your Shortcuts application. But what we're now going to do, which is very quickly, we're going to go back into that. We're going to go to Setup and Configuration. And again, in the bottom left, this time we're going to click the General icon. And from here, we're going to click the Stock icon just to the far left-hand side here. Now, all we're doing here is we're purely looking or configuring the back end side of things. Now, you probably won't need to make any changes here, but it would just be worth, again, just triple checking this option here that says reorder when stock falls below minimum level. Now, at face value, ladies and gents, you might look at that and you think that doesn't actually make any sense, Chris. It's not a problem. In the next sort of 5 to 10 minutes, the reorder when stock falls below minimum or min level, okay, minimum level. Underneath, you'll also see you've got this option here, CC, or to be copied on an email order. Towards the end of the masterclass, we're going to be taking a look at how to generate automated orders through your Shortcuts system. And if you want to be copied onto that email, this is the email address that will be used to be copied into. Okay, so this should be sort of a business one or a staff one. And then in the bottom right-hand corner, we're just going to click done. And again, we may just have to give a quick restart to our Shortcuts system. From here, though, we can go ahead and jump straight into the nitty-gritty of our stock, of our actual products. So we've taken a look at the back end, but now we're going to get right into it with our stock and our products. So on the right-hand side, you will see the third option down on your navigation bar is quite simply stock. And we can click onto stock. And underneath, we can click onto products. Now, when we go into the products, of course, you will probably have a lot of different companies or different brands on the left-hand side. Now, the first thing to do when it comes to your stock is if you're thinking I'm taking on a brand new company, so there's our first buzzword, our first keyword. If we're taking on a brand new company, we will need to input the supplier. The supplier is where we purchase that product from. So if we just jump back to our keywords, so we can see that there. A supplier, a person or organization that provides something needed, such as a product, i.e. salons direct. That's where we buy our products from. Company, a business which makes good or products, i.e. Kerastars. And a line, a group of related products, all categorized under a single brand name that is sold by the same company, i.e. Nutritive. The first thing we're going to take a look at is adding a supplier in. Now, if you've already got the supplier listed, you don't need to add it again. So if you've already got Salons Direct listed, or Aston & Fincher or Alan Howard, already listed or any other suppliers, you don't need to list them again. It's only if you're introducing a new supplier. And remember, a supplier is where we purchase those products from. And the reason we add a supplier in is quite simply for the sake of automated ordering. We need to know where we get our products from, who supplies the products for us, and is all to do with automated ordering. So towards the center bottom of the screen here, you can see we have sort by, company, and line. So those 2 out of those 3 buzzwords, those 2 out of 3 keywords, we can see there. We're going to hit that drop down arrow and we're going to change to supplier. And there's that 3rd keyword, remember, where we purchase our products from. Now you can see we've got a whole host of suppliers there. If we need to add a new one, all we're going to do is just click new down the center bottom. I'm going to add that Sally's Direct in there, or Salon's Direct in there. Once we've added it in, underneath you can also see we have the details icon. So if we click onto the details icon, we can add in the supplier's address to make your administration life that little bit easier. You can add in an account number if necessary, a shipping reference if necessary, and you can also email stock orders in PDF format. Now you may remember just 2 or 3 minutes ago we looked at being blind copied into an order. So if we wanted to email the orders directly to our suppliers, we can tick this box here, and you will just need to ensure we have the email fields filled out here. And that email there is for the supplier. And if we rewind a couple of minutes, when we were CC'd onto the order in the general stock setup, that will be the manager that gets copied into the order, or the salon owner that gets copied into this order here. And we can click done. So you can see here we've got our Sally's Direct. Now underneath you may also notice we've got no supplier. And if we expand no supplier down the bottom, you will see we've got quite a few products that are listed under no supplier. So if we were to generate an automated order, these products would not be added into the order because we don't know where to supply from. We don't know where we get them from. So all you would need to do is just multi-select or simply individually select, and then just click and drag and drop them under the correct supplier. And that will just move them under that correct supplier. So it's worth just checking if you do have a lot of products under the no supplier field here, they will need to be under the correct suppliers here in order to be included in an automated order. Automated orderings we're going to look at in about 20 minutes time. So we've added that new supplier. So we've added that new supplier called Sally's Direct. So we've now told our shortcut system we purchase products from Sally's Direct, and we can see that supplier just there. Now, once we've got the supplier in, we never need to add that supplier again. That's in the system. What we can now do is we can click that drop down arrow again, and we can change it back to company and line. Again, 2 out of those 3 keywords, we can change it back to company and line. Now, as we look at this screen, there's going to be a couple of things you'll notice straight away. You may look at this and think, there's loads of products in there. There's loads of companies that I no longer stock. Can I delete them? Yep, we're going to get to that in just a sec. So what we do is we can expand the company. So company is things like Jessica, LMS, Lash Perfect, Crystal Clear. They're all of our companies, our manufacturers. We can expand the company by clicking the plus sign to the left-hand side, and that will reveal our line of products. So that is a way to categorize similar products all under the same sort of category. That just makes life a lot easier. And again, if we do exactly the same here for American Crew, see we've got the Defy range. Under L'Oreal Professional, we've got the bleaches, chromative color, dye color, and so forth. Once we expand the line, we can click the plus sign again, and that will reveal the specific product within that line there. Now, if you wish to make a product inactive or simply delete it, a lot of the time when you try to delete it, you'll click onto it and you'll try and click the delete button down the bottom. And occasionally, and hopefully I can get it to do it with this one, when you click on to delete, it will ask you if you want to delete this product, and it will say cannot delete this product. Now, the reason it does that, it's not a problem, is at some point that product was used or it was sold or it appears on a report or history or a receipt or something like that. If you simply want to delete the product, what we would recommend you do is scroll to the far right hand side and untick the active box here. When you do so, that will grey shade the product out. And the next time you go back into it, and I expand L'Oreal, I expand, I think it was under bleaches, you'll see the 20 volt has essentially been deleted. But of course, if you do wish to bring it back at any stage, in the bottom left-hand corner, you can see it says show me inactive. We can click on inactive, and when we go into it, there it is, just there. And we can reactivate it by placing a tick in the active box. Now, if you were to go through your products, you may sometimes see certain products are written in italics like this here, such as nitrile gloves. And some products are not written in italics. So if I can just find one, let's see what I've got, like Elnet here. That is a visual indicator. Typically, your professional use products are identified by italics, and they often do not have a sell price, but will have a buy price. The reason they don't have a sell price is because we often do not sell them. If you wish to identify it further, along the top, you will see you have your categories. We can right-click on the category columns, and you can see we've got things like prices, levels, and properties. We can place a tick in the retail option, and that will now include a further column outlining whether these products are classed as professional or retail on your system. And again, we can see they're stylized in italics. If you wish to filter your retail and professional products down further, towards the bottom left-hand corner, you will see there's a drop-down arrow that often says all. If we click the drop-down arrow, you can view your professional products, or you can filter to your retail products. It's often a good idea to just keep it at all. Now, occasionally, you may look at this and you think, oh, where's that product gone? Or where's that product gone? You may have accidentally sort of scrolled through. So if I use the wheel on my mouse, sometimes you can accidentally scroll through in the bottom left and change it like I'm doing there. So just always triple check that all is set if you're not quite sure. And then I'm just going to untick inactive, and that will remove any products I've marked as inactive or taken a tick out of the active box. Okay, so we've looked at adding a new supplier onto the system, okay, and we added that Sally's Direct on there. But what about if we want to add a new company, such as L'Oreal, Redken, Dermalogica, and American Crew? What about if we want to add a new company in? We just check down the bottom here that it says sort by company and line. And when we want to add that new company in, what we do is we click business towards the top left, and we click new towards the bottom left. And we can add that new company in. So I'm just going to call it Chris's Products, but this would be the brand, L'Oreal, Redken, Kerastase, Schwarzkopf, whatever it may be. Underneath, you'll notice there's an option that says default supplier. Now, you may remember 5-10 minutes ago, the very first thing I did was create a new supplier. So if I click the drop-down arrow, you'll be able to see that just there, Sally's Direct. And that is also a reason why we do our suppliers first. You can also add in your rep details for this particular company. You can add in a phone number, an email, and you can also do it whether it's going to be retail or retail and professional. Now, you don't necessarily have to worry about the category. So you'll notice I'm not going to fill out the category because it's not a specific category. It's used across all of them. So that's the information I'm just going to leave there. So that now tells the system I've created a new company, a new brand, and I've called it Chris's Products. And we get those products, we purchase them from Sally's Direct. And now we're going to click Done in the bottom right. So you now see we've got that company. But now what we need to do, we need to add in the line of products. The line of products is a way to categorize similar products all under one heading. So the second step is to add in that line. So I'm going to click onto my company. I'm going to click New. And I can add in my new line of products. I'm going to call my line Curly Waves, okay? So I'm now, for my third and final step, I'm going to input a whole host of products that will fall under the Curly Waves line. So now I've got my line, now I know where I need my products to go. I simply click New, and I can add in my specific product. I'm going to be really specific. To the right, I'm going to add in my buy price, and you may remember when we looked at the region setup at the very beginning, I said it didn't include tax. And to the right, I'm going to look at my sold price, which did include tax. The sold price is what we retail it to our customers at. Right at the end, I'm going to add in my primary barcode. If you are utilizing a barcode scanner, you can scan the barcode at this stage. If not, you can simply type it in. So you can now see we've got our options in there. I've added in my company, Chris's Products. I've added in my line of products, Curly Waves. So that's my category I want them to all to fall under. And I've added in my specific shampoo. If I needed to add further ones in, I would just simply click the line, click New, and add in that specific product. So now I'm going to add in the conditioner. I would just fill those details out there. And that's how we can add a supplier, company, line, and a specific product. Perfect. So once we've got our products added, we can take a look at adding in our current levels. Now you'll see straight away here, one of the very first columns is we have our current levels. Now the current level is essentially what we have in stock right now. And there's a couple of different ways to get those levels in there. We could just simply go ahead and type in the product stock level. So I'm going to pop like 1 in there, for example. That's perfectly fine to do. And I'm just going to pop the 2 in there as well. Just say how many I've got in stock. Now to the right of that, you will see we've got these 2 columns. Now we can always expand these columns. So you'll see at the top, if I just place my mouse, I can just click and drag on the arrows and just expand my columns. Now, as I look at this, I think, okay, I've got quite a few columns going on. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to right click and I'm just going to remove one of the levels. So I'm going to remove the warning level. I don't require the warning level to be visible. I don't want to pop up every time I sell one of the products and the product gets a bit low. But what I am most interested for this afternoon is these 3 columns here. My current stock level, my maximum level, and my minimum level. Now you may remember at the very beginning we looked at reorder when product falls below the minimum level. And that's where this comes into play here. So these three columns all work in unison with each other. The current stock level is the level of products, the number of products we have in stock right now. The maximum level is the number of products we aim to have on the shelf the second we've received the order. So it's like the maximum amount of products. So I'm just going to type that in there as 6. The minimum is sort of your springboard. It's your catalyst. So how does this work? Well, if I was to put a minimum figure in there of 2, when our current stock level drops below the minimum level, it will generate an order in the background to bring this number back up to this number. So as soon as that current stock level drops below the minimum, it will create an order in the background to bring this number back up to this number here. So it would order 5 products. 1 plus 5 would give us that 6. So those 3 columns all work in unison with each other there. So it would just be a case of just simply working through and typing in your current level, typing in your maximum, and typing in your minimum. So we can just go ahead and just go through all of these if we need to, and just add them all in. So I'm just going to go through and add my current in, GHD, and I do my maximum. And you can change this as many times as you need to if it's a particularly popular selling product. Now, one thing I would always recommend, ladies and gents, is never set your minimum to 1. Okay, so why would we never set the minimum to 1? Now, always remember, ladies and gents, that it's what your current stock level drops below. So when your current stock level drops below the minimum level, that's when it will generate the order. So of course, if our minimum level was 1, we would have to completely sell out of the product before the order is even generated. Okay, so it's not given us a great deal of time. Because of this, we could end up missing out on a further sale or anything like that. So I'd always keep your minimum no less than 2, because in that way, at least when we've got 1 in stock, when it drops below, at least when we've still got 1 in stock, we've still got 1 in stock, and the order will then be placed. Now, as I said, you can go through and you can type in all of your current stock levels. You can type in all of those numbers there. That's perfectly fine to do. There's no issue there whatsoever. However, that's going to be quite time consuming. You're going to find yourself writing all of these products down on a piece of paper, going over to the GHD stand, writing all the products down, writing all the levels down, writing the current stock down, and coming back and inputting it into the system. You're going to be going backwards and forwards all of the time, writing the products down, coming back like that. But that's perfectly fine to do. But of course, we want to save you time and we want this to be accurate. So what we would then go ahead and do on the right hand side, we would go to our stock take section just here. Now, if you've got loads of them here, that's not a problem. What we're going to do is we're simply going to click new in the top right. And we're going to type in the description. So I'm going to count my GHD products. To the bottom right, I'm going to click next. And I'm now going to add in the products I wish to count. So what I'm doing here is essentially creating a stock take entry form. I don't need to write anything down just yet. I'm simply going to create a form with all of my products listed that I need to count. So it saves me writing out every single product word by word, writing out the barcode, writing out the spelling of it, everything like that. All we're doing here is simply using the system to generate a stock take form for you. So we've said we're going to do GHD. In the top right, we can simply click that add icon. And we're going to click add there. There's a couple of different ways to add the products into your stock take entry. Now remember, at this stage, we're simply creating a stock take form to write your findings down on. We're creating a stock take entry form to do all the counts on. So there's 3 different ways to do it. If you wanted to count every single GHD product, every single line, and every subsequent product within that line, which might be quite a few products, you could simply click the 6 grey dots to the left-hand side of the company, and that will multi-select everything under that company, under that banner. So it will do the irons, the brushes, the dryers, everything. If we unselect that. Now you might be thinking, okay, I don't want to do all GHD products. I just want to count all of my irons. And exactly the same, we can click those 6 grey dots, the multi-select tab in line with the irons. We can click onto that there. And last but not least, if you just want to count a few select products, you can expand the company, expand the line to reveal those specific products, and just use your 6 grey tabs to just multi-select as we go down. So you can see I'm just highlighting as I go. When you're happy with your selection, simply click Add in the top right-hand corner of the pop-up window. And it will add those products in. When you're happy, we can click Done. So what we've done there is we've created a stock take entry form. It saves us writing all of those products down when we wish to count all of the products. So all I'm going to do in the bottom right is simply click Start. And it says, are you sure you want to activate this stock take? So we're just going to click Yes. And at this stage, it will prompt us to print 3 forms. The top form is your stock take form. That's sort of the bare minimum we would almost require to be printed out. That is this form here. And that sort of allows us to write our findings down on to do all of our counts. Underneath, we have the unlist items form. Now, the unlist items form is a separate sheet of paper that as you're doing your physical stock take and counting all of your products onto the stock take form, the unlist items form is if you happen to notice any products physically in the business that are not listed on the stock take form. So essentially, you found some products that have somehow materialized in a salon or the barbershop or the spa that have never been added into Shortcuts. So that's a separate form to write those products down in. But I don't think you need a separate form. You could just simply write it on the back or add it on, anywhere on the sheet of paper. And the third form is the stock maintenance form. Now, again, as you're doing your physical stock take and writing down your findings on the stock take form, the stock maintenance form is used if you find any products requiring maintenance or that happen to be damaged. Of course, hopefully you haven't got many or any products that require maintenance that are damaged. But if you do, you could simply just write next to the product on the form, has a split lid leaking, whatever it may be. You're probably not going to have that many damaged products that require sort of a separate sheet of paper. So we're just going to untick that one as well. Towards the bottom left-hand corner, we also have Print Shortcuts Current Levels. Now that will print what the system thinks you already have in stock, and that can be a bit of an indicator, a bit of a safety net. Now, of course, it is only worth really printing the Shortcuts Current Levels if you feel your stock levels are somewhat accurate. If you haven't done a stock take for 20 years, there's a very good chance your stock levels are going to be completely inaccurate. So what we wouldn't want to happen is for you to count and look literally everywhere and only find 3 products, but the system say you've got 15 in stock, and you're like, well, the system says I've got 15 in stock, but I can only find 3. You're going to give yourself a bit of a worrying moment there. And of course, it can work on the flip side. If you feel your stock levels are accurate and you're very hot on your stock takes and you feel the Shortcuts current levels are accurate, and if it does say you've got 6 in stock and you've only found 2, it kind of lets you know and prompts you to think, okay, maybe I'll check down in the warehouse or the supply room or in the manager's office or anything like that. It lets you know to continue looking to think, okay, there should be a further 4 somewhere else. For the purposes of this masterclass, I'm not going to print anything out. But what you would do there is you would just print out your stock take form. And this would print this form just here on the screen in exactly the same order, almost identical. So let's fast forward 5-10 minutes. We've printed out our stock take form here. And on that physical sheet of paper, we've wandered around the salon, we've wandered around the business. And on that physical sheet of paper that we've just printed out, we have written all of our findings in the count column on that physical sheet of paper. Now, by which time your shortcut system, people would have checked customers out, made appointments, and the screen will most likely have changed. But we have now finished doing our stock take. We've got a stock take form printed out with all of the findings written down in the count column. So of course, now what we need to do, last but not least, we need to input those counts, we need to input those findings onto our shortcut system. So on the right hand side, we go back to stock. We go to stock take, and you will see it will open up here. What we are now going to do is use the physical sheet of paper to replicate what we have on our screen. Now, the beauty of doing it this way is if you've done quite a large stock take, you will notice the physical sheet of paper is, of course, in exactly the same order as the screen. So if you've got some assistance, you can get someone to just shout the counts out for you. So you could say, I've got 1, I've got 2, I've got 3, I've got 4, I've got 1, I've got 2, I've got 3, I've got 4. And that will allow you to be super accurate and fast when inputting your stock take. If, of course, you didn't use the system that way, you'd be going backwards and forwards and trying to find the products and thinking which one's which or what did I write there. You could all get in such a mess. So it's such a good way to do it this way. Now, once we've added in our count here, you'll notice we get an adjustment value. That is because the computer said we had 0 in stock, and I found 2. So I've essentially found £146.30 worth of product there. So it's just a good way to just keep on top of that there. When you're happy, we just need to take stock. So in the bottom right-hand corner, what we do is we click the tick here that says stock take, take stock, stock take. So we click here, and it says, are you sure you want to complete this stock take? Committing this stock take will update your shortcut's current levels. Well, of course, that's exactly what we want to happen. We want to update it to these current levels here. So we click yes, and we get a pop-up. There are product counts that are different to the recorded values, or have they been sold during the stock take? It is recommended you recount these. Would you like to perform a recount? Choosing no will update your current levels. So if you look at this and you think, oh, I think somebody might have sold a few products in between, I'll just recount those ones. If you're happy that you've input and you've counted 100% accurately and correctly, choosing no will update your current levels to these figures here in the count column. So if we click no, congratulations, you successfully completed a stock take. Product levels will be updated according to your counts. And we click done. We can exit out of this screen. We can go into our products, expand GHD, and whichever ones I did just there, you can see my stylers have now been updated. So I can now use all of that information. So I've got my current levels correct. And as we said, we may just wish to go ahead and just add those maximums in there and add those minimums in there as well. You'll notice we get a little visual color key there as well when we're very low on our products, but we're getting very close to our minimum level. But we can now use these 3 columns to generate and automatically generate an order. Now we've still got full control of the order, so please don't worry, but we've still got full control of the order. So again, let's just very quickly recap back. We looked at adding a supplier at the very beginning. The supplier is where we purchase our products from for the purposes of automated ordering. We looked at adding companies, lines, and products. Companies, lines, and products. We looked at our maximum and minimum level. Now remember, the minimum level is the catalyst, is the springboard. As soon as our current level drops below it, it will generate an order to bring it back up to the maximum level. So we can now use all of that information to generate an order. So what we're now going to do is on the right hand side, we're going to click on to ordering. At the top, you will see we have our suppliers. You may remember it's one of the very first things we did. So we're going to click onto our suppliers, and you'll see there's all of our suppliers there. I'm going to choose my GHD supplier. In the bottom left, I'm going to click New, and it should generate an order for 1 or 2 products. So if we click onto New, we can do all such retail and professional, just retail or just professional. I'm just going to do all. And you can see it's added in those products there. Now the quantities are all based on the current and maximum and minimum level. So for example, here you will see the IV styler wants to give me a quantity of 5. So why is it a quantity of 5? If we go back to our products, and if we take a look at the IV styler here, you can see I've got 1 in stock. That 1 has dropped below my minimum, so it knows I need an order. And it says I want 6 in stock. Well, I've got 1 in stock already. I want 6, so it's going to order me 5 products. And that's why we can see that just there. Now, of course, if you get to the order, you've still got full control. You can still click onto it and you can adjust it accordingly. That's not a problem. But of course, we want it to be accurate. So if you do find yourself often doing this, just go back to your products and just adjust that maximum level accordingly. And of course, just double check the current stock as well. Now, if you need to add in some products, you can do so. In the bottom left-hand corner, we can click on to add. And you can go ahead and add those products on if you need to. Just add in as many products as necessary. But again, of course, if you do find yourself doing that, just go back to the products, double check the current stock level, double check the maximum, double check the minimum. So once we've got the order, you can adjust the buy price here if you need to. So if you realize there wasn't a buy price included, you can add that in there like I've done that. And it will just say, do you want to add that to future orders? And that will just ensure the total order is completely accurate as well. Now, if you do get any discounts, you can also do that here as well. If you don't get a discount until after you've placed the order, you can also go back in and add that discount in as well. But if you do know you get a discount prior to placing the order, you can add that discount in here as well, just by clicking onto it, doing a percentage discount or a fixed amount there as well. But like I said, sometimes depending on how much you spend, you may have found out after you place the order, you get a discount. I will demonstrate that in just a sec as well. So now all we need to do is simply click order down the bottom. And it says, do you wish to proceed with this order? And we click yes. Now at this stage, it will want to print it out. So if you do want to print it out, that's perfectly fine to do so. If you did input the email address for your supplier, it will ask and tell you that there is an email address on file for that supplier. And do you wish to email it to that supplier? If not, if you would rather just print it out or export it, you can do so by Microsoft Print to PDF. If not, I'm just going to click cancel. It says the order has been placed successfully. You can always go back at this stage here as well and export it out to a file and attach it into an email, or you can print it out here as well if you need to take it to your supplier. But like I said, if you did add that email address in for that supplier, it will prompt you to email it as well. So the order is now currently outstanding. So let's fast forward 3 or 4 days. The order has been received, or the order has been collected. Now, of course, what we need to do is we need to update our stock levels because we've just received the order. So our stock levels are currently outdated. We now need to update the stock levels. So all we do is we go back to stock on the right-hand side. We go to ordering. You can see the outstanding order there. And we just simply click receive down the bottom. Now, usually what we do when we receive an order, we usually open up the box, we take out the delivery note, and we start sort of cross-checking and say, yep, we got the pink hair, yep, we got the 35mm brush, yep, we start crossing it off to sort of visually identify that that product was received. You can also do something very similar by scrolling to the right-hand side and ticking the verified box. That is essentially the same as you crossing it off on that delivery note. You do not have to do this. And I will just say, doing this action does not update your stock levels, okay? So it's more just a cross-reference. It will not update your stock levels. What we're doing at this stage is essentially mirroring and sort of determining that what we ordered is what we received. So this is what we ordered 3 or 4 days ago, but is it what we received? Because of course, if a product was out of stock or one was missing, we don't want to tell the system we received it because our stock levels are going to be immediately out of date. So what we're doing here is just mirroring the delivery note, basically just copying to see and confirming if that is exactly what we did receive. If we didn't, we then got a little bit of work to do. All we need to do is adjust the quantity. So for example, I didn't actually receive 5 of the brushes, I received 4. 1 was out of stock, so I only received 4. So I need to replicate and mirror that here. So I'm now going to change it to 4. When I do that, it says you ordered 5, and on my TISM, please do excuse it's missed that out there. It should say, and receiving 4 has been blocked off for some reason, and are receiving 4. Would you like to put 1 on back order? So I'm just going to say, no, I don't want to put it on a separate order. If you did get a discount, so if you got to this stage and you found out that the supplier was very nice to you and you got a little bit of discount, you can add it onto the particular line here by doing a percentage or a fixed amount. Or you will notice there is the total amount down here. You can adjust it accordingly by clicking into order discount and updating that in here. And again, you can add in a percentage or a fixed amount. So by clicking onto the order discount, I can add in my fixed amount, and it will just give me a little pop-up menu there. I'm just going to continue, and I've got a £10 discount because I reached the minimum order limit, let's say, and I got a £10 discount. The last step, we've confirmed that what we received is exactly what we've got on the order here. Everything is correct. We got 1, we got 5, we got 4, we got 5, we got 1. That's physically what we received. We know our stock levels are now going to be completely accurate to mirror what we received. Now what we do is just simply click receive down the very bottom of the screen. And it says, are you sure you want to proceed with receiving this invoice? And we click yes. And it says, you've not entered an invoice number. Would you like to enter one? You could always enter an invoice number in the top right. Now, sometimes the invoice doesn't come until like a week or 2 weeks after. So if we have clicked no, we can very simply just go back into the received section, click edit, and add that invoice number in there. And you can add the discount in again if you did forget to do so as well. And then you can just save that there as well. And that is how we can generate an order based on our current maximum and minimum levels. Now, all of what we've gone through for this afternoon, ladies and gents, that ordering, the stock take, the minimum and maximums, that can all be done for both professional and retail. There's no problem with doing it for either. However, there's a very good chance you will work through your professional stock a lot quicker than you would your retail. So, for example, if you did a stock take, within 30 minutes or probably quicker, somebody will have mixed up a color or done a wax or whatever it may be, and straight away your stock levels are incorrect. So you've done a stock take, we said, yeah, we've got 713, we've got 5 of that color tube, 5 of that oxidant. Straight away someone mixes up a color, the stock levels are completely inaccurate. So based on that theory, you're going to be doing stock takes sort of every 30 minutes, or more, which of course simply isn't viable. So what we can do, we can get ourselves a nice big household bin. We can pop it in the color area or the dispensary area or anything like that. And every time you mix up a color, you can take the cardboard color tube, which typically has the product formula number on it and the barcode. You can throw that in the color tube bin. And you can do that for all of your professional products. So that can be all of the wax pot, color tubes, oxidants, 1,000 milliliter shampoos, anything that's used professionally. What you can then do is, depending on how quickly it fills up every week or every 2 weeks, what we can do is we can essentially scan those products out. And we would recommend doing it when a business is closed or at a very quiet period. So let's say for the last week, I've been mixing up all my color tubes. I've been taking all the color tubes, throwing them in this particular bin. What I'm now going to do is I'm going to go to main on my shortcuts navigation bar. I'm going to go to point of sale. And I'm going to click the drop down arrow at the top here. And I'm going to choose hashtag business track professional stock usage. So I'm going to click onto that. And I'm now going to start to scan all of my color tubes out, wax pots, glove boxes, everything like that. Now, if you don't have a barcode scanner or the barcode doesn't work, for example, you can manually select the products by clicking any one of the empty gray sale lines. Choose business. And you can start to scan those products out that are in the color bin. I'm just going to multi-select a whole host of them here. Now you'll notice straight away, whatever product I choose, the price comes up at 0. That is because no money is exchanging hands. These products have been used professionally. So once we've scanned out all of our products or manually searched for them like I did here in the bottom right-hand corner, we're going to click Finish Sale. Now, if you do have a stock level warning set up, this will just come up here, but if not, don't worry about it. Now, what that will do is it will automatically do 2 things. The first thing it will update all of the stock levels for those products, because what we've just done is scanned out under the hashtag business tracking professional stock usage. We've scanned all of those products out. It will update your stock levels for those products automatically. And the second thing is you can print out a receipt. Now, if you do print out a receipt, it will essentially show all of the products that you just scanned out. Now, that in theory, it won't be completely accurate, but in theory, that could potentially be your next professional order. Why? Because all we're doing is we're replenishing the stock that we've used over the last week. So we've just scanned out all of those products over the last week or the last 10 days or 2 weeks, whatever it may be. And then we could just then use that receipt to just reorder, to just take that to our supplier or phone through. And we're just simply replenishing the stock that we've used. Now, as we said, it won't be completely 100% accurate because you may have found over the last week you did like a crazy color pink or a crazy color red. And of course, you might only use that once every 6 months. So you may not need to reorder that particular product. But it's a very good way to be fairly accurate and a great way to budget. And that's our hashtag business track professional stock usage. Now, of course, you may also have, we've often been there, we may get one of our stylists that say to us, Chris, is it okay if I just take this hairspray off of the shelf, off the retail stand to use on my client? Now, as soon as they take that hairspray off of the shelf, it can no longer be sold. But of course, that aside, our stock levels are now incorrect. So if we've taken that hairspray off of the shelf, just ask for it just very, very quickly. Just say, yep, just before you do, just go into your point of sale, go to your hashtag business at the top, scan out that hairspray or manually search for it. So like I'm going to do here, see if I've got some hairsprays in it. Eltnet, perfect. So I'm going to take the hairspray, and again, you'll notice that retail product, that price is coming up at 0 because no money is exchanging hands. We're using it professionally. It's being used on a client. Now, I'm sure all of us watching, we've all had that at some stage. We've had one of our stylists or therapists come to us and say, can I just take this product off the shelf? Can I take this hairspray, this wax pot? Can I take it off the shelf and use it on my client? If you don't run it through as a hashtag business, of course, your stock levels will stay exactly the same. And when you do a stock take, however far down the line you do a stock take, you will find that your stock levels are automatically incorrect almost immediately. So as we draw to a close, we do have a couple of reports worth looking at. So if we click Tools on the right-hand side, and if we go to Reports, on the left-hand side, we can expand Stock. We can go down to Stock Control Report, click View, and you can set any date range you like, but it's always best to keep this as up to date as possible. Click View. Now, straight away to the left-hand side of this report, you will see all of the different companies to help you keep track for those particular product companies. If not, at the very top of the screen, you will see the very dark grey section here is the total. This is the total quantity in stock, okay? So we've got 3,280 and a half. I'll get to the halves in just a sec. Products in stock, 21 products on order with a value on hand of 29,000. So great for your accountants there. We can then start to split it down. So 35 products, quantity in hand are under Jessica, and that's the monetary value there for Jessica. We can see the lines such as treatments and the specific products underneath. So we can start to see almost immediately not only the quantity, but where the value is held in our stock. Now, this is a great way also to help keep track of stagnant stock. So you might run this report today and run it again in 6 weeks, 8 weeks, 12 weeks, and just see that those stock levels are just not adjusting for a particular company. And then also, if I just come out of this report just very quickly, I'm going to look at the professional stock usage, what we were just looking at point of sale, a breakdown of professional products sold to the hashtag business client. Again, if we click View, we can keep it at today. We're going to click View, and you can now see all of those products there. So there's all of our professional products that we scanned out, but you will also notice we've got one of the retail products, the one that I said my staff member took off the shelf and wanted to use on a customer. So we can see that essentially cost us £6.85. Now, this is great to keep track of over the weeks and the months. So if you were to look at this report for a 4-weekly period, for example, you may see there are 10 Elnet Supreme hairsprays or 5 different individual clay waxes. And you can think, okay, I'm going to open up the styling cupboards. And lo and behold, guess what? There's 4 or 5 half empty, half used hairsprays, half empty clays, waxes, anything like that. And that's all costing us money. So we can say to our staff, look, we need to be careful. We need to be ensuring that we are using up the products before we take another one off of the shelf. So again, this is a fantastic way to just help us to budget there. Now, just as I do have just a couple more minutes left, I'm going to show you something a little bit more advanced that I think is absolutely fantastic. So this is brilliant for our colorists and our therapists watching. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go back to my stock on the right-hand side, and I'm going to go to my products. Now, some of you may have noticed that one of the columns I did have was the purchase units here. Now, again, if we want to add this column in, just have a bit of a play around with this, you can do. You can simply right-click along the columns at the top here. And you can see we've got what have we got? The properties here, and it's just purchase units. By default, it will not be visible. So you can see the majority of my products I've got written as units. Okay, you can see there's a little drop down arrow there to tell me that there. So it's units. That means I buy them in like individuals, like they come in units of 1, 2, 3, everything like that. So one shampoo is 1 unit. But for example, if I go to my bleaches and oxidants, you will see, for example, I've put my purchase units in milliliters, okay? So I split it down into that unit, into milliliters. You can put it into liters and things like that as well if you wish to, but I've kept it into milliliters. And you will notice for my current stock, I've got 600. Now, that doesn't mean I've got 600 bottles. That means I've got 600 milliliters. Okay, so I'm now putting it down to the nearest milliliter, for example. So what you can do if you want to be super accurate is I've got a service booked in here. I've got a half head of highlights and I've arrived the customer. The customer does have to be arrived. And in the bottom right-hand corner, I'm going to click onto the menu option. I'm going to choose visit details here. I'm going to click on my full head of highlights. And you can see we've got quantity and units just here. It's a little bit hidden, but it does say quantity and units. You can just expand it if you need to. And I'm going to click add. So what I'm essentially going to do is I'm going to say for my full head of highlights, I'm going to keep track of the amount of units that I used, the amount of milliliters. So I'm going to expand L'Oreal, going to expand bleaches. You can see just here, I've got my 30 volt. I'm going to add that in. I'm going to click done. You can see it's in milliliters, that's the units. And I'm going to say for that particular color, I did 25 milliliters of 30 volt. I'm now going to click done in the bottom right-hand corner. And then after a few minutes, you will notice, you may have to give it a bit of a refresh, but you will notice if you go to your stock, it is updated the current milliliters. So it's a great way if you're really measuring down the individual units, the individual milliliters. It's also great if you offer a refill service for shampoos and things like that as well. It's a fantastic way to just keep stock of those products there. So I went just 1 or 2 minutes over there, but thank you ever so much for joining me this afternoon. That is our essential stock control and stock maintenance. If you do have any questions, please feel free to drop those across to me now. Okay, so if you're looking for a way to sort of mass update your products, product prices, sorry. So occasionally, your supplier might say to you, okay, we're increasing the sell price or increasing the buy price by £1 for all of the products. So every single product just has a price increase of £1, or even if it's something like 5% or 10%. I don't know if that is the case. I think a lot of products, they often have like individual sort of pricing, but it might just be one particular brand goes, yeah, we're just increasing our prices by £1. Rather than you sort of updating each individual price. So for example, rather than just sort of going into Jessica and the treatments and going, okay, that's now £19.95, that's £12.95, £11.95, £11.95, £11.95, £6.70, £6.70, do them all individually. What you can actually do is for that particular line, you can actually right click on it and you can just go down to change sell price, okay, or change buy price. Now, remember what that will do when you click onto buy price, you can give it the percentage increase, a fixed amount increase, or a fixed amount. The fixed amount increase will update every single product within that line by £1, for example. Fixed amount will change it to that specific amount. So if all buy prices were now £10.20, it would do all prices for that. But that's probably the best way to do like a bit of a mass price update. If not, it would just be the case of just manually going through and double click into it and adjusting it accordingly. But if you do want to do like a mass price increase, you can right click on the company, or you can right click on the line. And incidentally, you can also update the picture as well. So you'll notice some of them just have this sort of default image here. You can always right click and do new picture. You will need to ensure you've got a non-copyrighted picture. Just make sure you grab that from Google or anywhere that's safe and secure to do so, and then just upload that into new picture just there as well. You can update there. Just makes it look that little bit neater. Perfect. Lovely. Any other questions for me this afternoon? So we will be looking at adding our new classes moving forward. We've got some brand new classes, so please do stay tuned on the newsletters and also our social media page as well. Please do make sure you give us a like, share, and a follow on there. But I'll stay online just for a couple more minutes if you do have any more questions. Lovely stuff. So if you do want to chat further, please feel free to drop me an email at education@shortcuts.co.uk, or you can give us a call on 0161 972 4900. You can view future classes at shortcuts.co.uk/online-classes. That's www.shortcuts.co.uk/online-classes. Or you can request any videos or any future masterclasses at our email address, education@shortcuts.co.uk. Thank you ever so much for watching me. If you do have any other questions, please feel free to drop those across. But thank you ever so much for joining me this afternoon. It's been a pleasure speaking to you all. My name was Chris. Have an enjoyable and lovely rest of your day. Thank you ever so much. Take care. Bye-bye for now.